Western Civ 105, welcome to week 4. We are almost done, and I'm aware of how hard many of you are working and the kind of burnout levels that start really reaching their peak around this time. And as we've been discussing, there has been a lot of work to do. But if you're making it up to this point, you should pat yourself on the back and really congratulate yourself on doing the thing. And again, we're coming close to the end of it all. Now, for this week, this is again where having a cram course is a little frustrating for me as a history professor, because we have these really hugely important events, and I have to choose which ones we emphasize, and there is so much the information that we need to cover and what I need to spend the time in, we don't have the time for. What's lacking here is the end videos where I do a few that I added on the interwar years, the build up to World War II. And we will then cover that next week. Please keep in mind that I'm going to be posting some optional videos, and I would normally require something like this, except I just know that you're limited on time and you're not going to fully grasp everything. But some of you I'm seeing do enjoy the supplemental videos. You're telling me that. And if you can make the time, it'll help you conceptualize things. So first of all, I also talk about, I'm going to have you watch a video on Lenin, which is on one of my last lectures on the Russian Revolution, and I don't have you watch that bio. The one that I originally used to show was removed from YouTube, and there are plenty that I can show on that. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. If you are interested in the topic and you're interested in learning more about the history of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, then you will not find a shortage of information to go to. Keep in mind that when it comes to World War II, when it comes to studying communism and fascism, which I'll get to in a second, it has been in the past very difficult to find neutral, nuanced information. Keep in mind that the Cold War years that we're going to get up to later in next week was all about a serious battle between the Soviet Union and the West, and each side trying to make propaganda to discredit the other side as much as possible. And that seeped through the entire intellectual framework of things. And then you had others that were apologists that desperately tried to make everything perfect in the West or everything perfect in the Soviet system. And I will talk again about this next week. But once you study this history, you're going to realize that many artists that you may have enjoyed in your life, writers, people who do film and anything dealing with the arts, were all wrapped up in this drama, just as, in other words, the polarization of people in the politics affected everything. So just think about how Americans are about the Trump presidency. Well, I'm not asking anybody's opinion. I'm not going to talk about my own opinion. But look how everybody kind of, the clash, unfortunately, that everybody has in the States right now on this topic. Well, this permeated the entire realm of culture in regards to the political sides that people were going to be on. Having said that, many popular artists that wealthy and powerful people enjoyed were communists, and those wealthy people decided to still put money into helping those people with their art, and those artists still took their money. And so you have that kind of thing. Picasso was basically a billionaire communist. Okay, I think he died. I think when he died, he was living in a castle, and he was still a member of the Communist Party, I believe. I have to double check that, but yeah, that was the world there's a wide range of all that. Now, so I will be posting all these kind of little various tidbits to kind of give you some extra insight. You can read the chapter, of course, on your own to help you with that, and then we'll talk more about fascism, an important ideology, the next week, which is also misused in popular discourse the same way that communism is. So long story short, in America in particular, everything that's Democrat on to the left is labeled socialist and communist by people who don't like them. I remember Obama being called a communist and a socialist, which is not true. And I think I mentioned that in one of the lectures. And people still don't know where to place Bernie, especially the old timers, in this realm. Bernie Sanders, right? So the new Democrats are being viewed as very wildly radical. They do not fit into this communist camp, but that's where they get labeled. And then you have the other side, where everything conservative and to the right of that is labeled fascist by the left. And then later we'll talk about the fact that there's even this trend in America, which I'm going to stomp on in this class, that fascism comes out of the left, and socialism, which is a distortion of history. But it's understandable because Nazis called themselves National Socialists. So that is worth spending some time discussing why that's the case. But any true, honest historian and intellectual knows where to place the legacy of fascism. And it doesn't, if you don't like socialism and far leftist politics, that's fine. But don't distort history. The Nazi Party and fascism comes out of an ultra-nationalist right-wing branch of ideology, okay? And that will be discussed thoroughly next week. I think that's it for now. I'm hoping that these terms, although you still might be a little bit vague on, are helping you get through this so that you're going to now start watching politics and be a more polished thinker than so many other people, so that you can have a more sophisticated analysis of what's going on in the world. It's not always easy, and the terms are not always clear, and how people use them, they change over time. But this should give you a base, a grounding in that, okay? And I hope that worked for you. I'm a little behind on the grading, but I'm going to get on it right now. So everybody have a great week, and we'll be in touch.